Hi, my name is Lenny Cohen, and I'm a kindergarten teacher at the Anderson School. Let me tell you a little bit about what a typical day is like here. Well, we always start our days with a morning meeting where we have a message and we have the calendar and how many days have we been in school count. And we always have a turn and talk message for the children to discuss because many children who've been identified as gifted and talented like to talk a lot. So we try to give them some time throughout the day to engage in meaningful conversation. Something we've been talking about a lot lately is geometry. And so something I have up here for the morning message for the children to see tomorrow is a conversation about what this shape is called. So before we started our geometry lessons, children would probably look at that and say that it's a square. But I'm expecting some children to try to convince each other that it's actually a rectangle and that a square is a special kind of rectangle. Because some of the attributes that we've learned is that a rectangle is a closed shape and it has 4 sides and it has 4 right corners. And the top and bottom sides have to match in length, and the left and right sides have to match in length. So many of the children are used to thinking of a rectangle as something long, but I think we're going to have an interesting conversation about how in a rectangle, the top and bottom and left and right can all be the same size, and that a square is a special type of rectangle. We'll see how that goes. Children who are successful at the Anderson School are able to carry on conversations like this, and they're able to explain what they're thinking. Descriptive vocabulary and good communication skills are really paramount here at the Anderson School. Now, after our morning meeting, we'll do literacy-based activities, many of which are tenets of the Columbia Teachers College Reading and Writing Program. So we do a balanced literacy program. So throughout the day, we might be doing any of the following. We might have a shared writing experience. We might have a read aloud writing workshop, independent reading, partner reading. We do word study, which involves phonics, grammar, spelling, sight words. We have books in many, many different genres and on many, many different levels because children who come into the Anderson School all read at their own level. They don't all come in reading, but children who are successful at the Anderson School do come in knowing their consonant sounds. Some kids come in and they're just beginning readers, and they might have books like this, where there's lots of pictures and only one sentence on a page that keeps repeating. Other children come in reading chapter books, and they might have something more like this, where there are lots of words on a page and not so many pictures. For the children who are already fluent readers, we offer things like readers theater, literacy circles, silent conversations where children sit and write messages to each other about a book that they've been reading. Beginning readers have guided reading lessons with lots of practice in sight words and rhymes and things like that. So we have something for everybody here. In addition to our children being gifted and talented, they also work at an accelerated pace, a year above grade level. So we use the learning standards for first grade. That means that we do have high expectations here at the Anderson School. The children usually finish the year in kindergarten reading chapter books. In math, we've been working with a specialist for a few years, and she has been helping us to construct our own math program. We use a variety of systems, and again, all the systems that we use align with first grade standards. While we don't use one math program, we do have important parts of our program, and one of the most important parts is the standards for mathematical practice. And you can look that up at schools.nyc.gov. And those standards include things like making sense of problems and persevering in solving them, learning how to use mathematical tools accurately, being able to construct an argument, and being able to critique the reasoning of others. Much of our math is done through projects, so that's a way that we can differentiate by ability. Here at the Anderson School, we have specials throughout the week, and our specials include things like music, library, art, phys ed, Spanish, chess, and visiting our fourth grade reading buddies. The kindergartners and the fourth grade reading buddies love to come together and read. Every day there's lunch and recess, and during that time, the children go outside for a bit and they do get to play. Also in kindergarten, we have choice time. Every day for 30 to 45 minutes, the children have choice time and they get to pick what kind of center they want to go to. They might build something at the block center. They might work at the computer, do a puzzle. They might play chess, make something out of Play-Doh, go to the housekeeping center, write a book. Some projects that kids have done in kindergarten include things like constructing their own chessboard and making their own pieces, creating a watercolor display and then hanging them out in the hall, taking pipe cleaners and making them into jewelry like headbands and bangle bracelets, sometimes choreographing a dance and writing down the steps and even teaching it to some classmates. Children at the Anderson School have big ideas, and then they're willing to follow through with their big ideas. They have great skills to collaborate, and they have great skills to problem solve and to persevere. So after choice time, we usually have snack time, and that is where you provide some healthy food for your children to eat, and we play some games while the children are enjoying their snacks. Once a week here at Anderson, we have what we call enrichment groups. So instead of in-class choice time, the children go to an area of interest with other kindergartners, first graders, and second graders, and this often involves going into a different classroom with a different teacher. Some of the enrichments have included puppet party, where kids create puppets and then make shows with them. Spy Kids, where kids learn how to encipher and decipher codes. Music Engineers, where they learn how to make and play their own instruments. Yoga, still life drawing. Odyssey, where they learn how to do STEM projects. There are lots of fun choices so that there's something for everybody. A social emotional learning tool that we use here in the Anderson School is called the Mood Meter, and it's part of the Ruler program. It's a way of being aware of how you feel throughout the day and what to do if you don't like the way you feel and you want to change the way you feel. We have mindfulness corners in every classroom, and those are places for the children to go when they're not liking the way they feel or they just want a little time to be away by themselves. Going to the mindfulness corner is not a punishment, it's just an option for kids who need a break. We also teach the kids how to do some meditations and how to do breathing exercises to help them when they're feeling stressed. Our kindergarten classes have at least 2 adults at all the time. There's a teacher and there's a teaching assistant, and that way we can help the children with their needs. Kids who need support, we have somebody to help them if they're struggling, and we also have another person who's able to provide enrichment for those kids who already know the work and need to go a little further. So another expectation we have here is for children to become reflective students. We often ask them questions like, how did I do on my work today? How can I make it better next time? Did I show kindness to somebody today? We also practice growth mindset, where we try to learn how to be flexible in our thinking. And it also includes having a willingness to make mistakes and then learn from your mistakes. So, for example, before you crumple up a paper and throw it out, we ask, was there something you liked about your work? Do you really need to throw it out? If you look at it, is there a part that you liked and maybe something else that you can make better? So, for example, recently a student did a math project and he didn't like it. And there was so much good math on the paper. But the fact that he made some numbers backwards on the number line bothered him so much that he just wanted to throw the whole thing out. But we talked about how great the other parts of the paper were. And we talked about some options for saving it and making it better and not throwing it out. And what we decided was he would just take some white tape and put it over the numbers that were facing backwards and just flip them to be facing the right way. He took a deep breath, and that way he was able to save his project and appreciate that there was good work on it. And that when you make a mistake, it doesn't mean that you have to throw something out. We, as teachers, try to make mistakes in front of the children too. We make mistakes both verbally and written because we want the kids to feel comfortable making mistakes too. And we want the kids to know that grown-ups are not perfect. Parents are not perfect. Teachers are not perfect. And when you make a mistake, you just say, oh well, and you fix it if you can and you move on. So sometimes we'll just say things in front of the children like, Happy Thursday. Oh, wait, no, the calendar says Friday. Whoops. And then we move on like it was no big deal. We have conferences with the children on a regular basis, and we use that as a form of assessment in kindergarten. During conferences, we might ask the children to show their work, and then we give some feedback, and then we help them set some goals. This is true in all subject areas, and it's true in all the grades. So the first 2 months of kindergarten here are like kindergarten anywhere else. Kids are learning the routines of big school, and they're learning how to be social to one another. They're learning who the staff is. They're learning how to take care of their own responsibilities. We act, we sing, we act things out with puppets, and we just try to build a classroom community. And then it's in late fall that we really start to accelerate and do more of a first grade type curriculum. We do a lot of projects and a lot of investigations in the Anderson School. We do a butterfly inquiry, we do author studies. Right now we're working on poetry, and we started by immersing the children in it and asking them, what do you notice? We like to approach things from an angle of, what do you already know about this subject, and what are some things that you want to learn, and then how can we learn them? We make predictions. We adjust our predictions along the way as we learn more. For example, when we just started our poetry unit and we asked children what they know, they said, well, poetry rhymes. But then we read them poems that are free verse, and after a while they say, oh, some poetry rhymes. We want to teach them how to be flexible thinkers. We go on lots of field trips. Sometimes our field trips include the butterfly exhibit at the Museum of Natural History. We go to the art farm to study animals. We go to theatrical productions. We go to the New York Historical Society sometimes. Something else you should know about kindergarten at the Anderson School is we do give homework. Homework is due on Mondays, so there's a whole week to do it. It involves about 2 hours of work throughout the course of the week, and it will involve reading, word study, and math. We start to phase the homework in November, and we do it a piece at a time. Now, please enjoy your tour of the Anderson School.